let's think about this for a second. Could a simple scientific diagram, just a map of the stars, actually have the power to upend an entire society? I mean, to challenge kings, to empower everyday people, and to literally lay the groundwork for revolution? It sounds like a stretch, but that is exactly what happened.
It seems pretty wild, right? But for more than 1,400 years, the answer was, believe it or not, a huge yes. The accepted map of the universe wasn't just astronomy. No, it was a divine blueprint that locked every single person into their place, from the lowest serf tilling the fields to the king on his throne. So, to really get why this was such a game changer, we got to go back and look at how people saw the world before all this. This was a universe that wasn't just physical, it was also moral. It had a crystal clear, divinely ordered hierarchy built right into the fabric of the cosmos itself. At the heart of it all was this idea, geocentrism, put into writing by the astronomer Ptolemy way back in the 2nd century. And listen, for a millennium and a half, this was not a theory, it was fact. The Earth, our home, was the fixed, unmoving center of absolutely everything. And that one simple-sounding idea had massive consequences for everyone living here.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because physics and morality were completely intertwined. Aristotle taught that heavy, corrupt things, like the element Earth, naturally fall to the lowest point, the very center of the universe. Well, theologians took that idea and ran with it. They linked the physical heaviness of dirt and rock to the moral heaviness of sin. So Earth was literally seen as the sump of the universe, the place where all the dregs and decay collect.
So, the universe was imagined as this great celestial ladder, or a cosmic stairway. You start at the very bottom, right here on corrupt Earth, the realm of sin, but as you move outward, sphere by sphere, past the moon, past the sun, past the planets, you're ascending towards perfection. Each level was purer, more divine than the last, all the way up to the fixed stars, and then beyond to the prime mover, to God. And here's the kicker. This cosmic ladder was seen as a perfect mirror for the social ladder on Earth. Your place in society was a direct reflection of your place in the cosmos. If you were a peasant, well, you were bound to the heavy, corrupt Earth. The king? He was like the sun, the source of light, order, and life for everyone else. And the Pope, as God's representative, was the earthly version of that prime mover. This wasn't just a handy metaphor, it was the ultimate justification for the status quo.
So, who in their right mind would dare to challenge an idea that held up the entire social, political, and religious order? You might be picturing some kind of rebel, right? But nope, it wasn't a firebrand revolutionary. It was a quiet, careful, and meticulous astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus.
And just take a look at this timeline to really appreciate the mountain he was trying to move. This idea had been the bedrock of Western thought for over 14 centuries. It had been masterfully woven into Christian theology by brilliant thinkers like Thomas Aquinas. So to question it wasn't just questioning science, it was questioning, well, everything.
But here's the crucial thing. Copernicus wasn't trying to start a social rebellion. He was a numbers guy, a mathematician who just loved harmony and elegance. And when he looked at the old system with its messy mathematical patches, like this weird device called the equant, which was kind of an off-centered gear needed just to make the numbers work, he thought it was clunky. He just couldn't believe the creator would build something so messy.
And this is a fascinating little twist in the story. When Copernicus's book was finally published, a theologian named Andreas Osiander, fearing it would cause a huge controversy, secretly added an anonymous preface. He basically slapped a warning label on the front that said, hey, don't take this literally, it's just a thought experiment, a handy tool for making calculations. And that little move allowed the idea to spread quietly for a while, delaying the inevitable conflict. So that was the big question hanging in the air. Was this new map of the stars just a handy new calculator for astronomers, a technical fix, or was it actually the truth? The idea was out there, but an idea is one thing. It needed evidence. It needed proof that would shatter the old universe once and for all. And that proof wouldn't come from some dusty book of equations. It came from one guy, a brand new invention, and the simple act of looking up. This, of course, is where Galileo Galilei storms onto the scene. First up, Galileo points his newfangled telescope at the moon. Now, the old worldview demanded that the moon be a perfect, smooth orb, like a celestial billiard ball. Instead, what did Galileo see? Whoa, mountains, valleys, craters. It was bumpy and messy and imperfect, just like Earth. The implication was, forgive the pun, earth-shattering. The heavens weren't some perfect, godlike realm after all. They were made of the same basic stuff as us.
Okay, so the moon's not perfect. Big deal? Well, what he saw next was a real system smasher. He turned his telescope to Jupiter. The old model was absolutely clear. Everything orbits the Earth, period. But Galileo saw 4 little points of light that were very clearly orbiting Jupiter. It was a mini solar system right there in his eyepiece. This was visible proof that Earth was not the one and only center of motion.
But the real knockout punch came from Venus. See, the old Ptolemaic model had very specific predictions for what Venus should look like from our point of view. It should never, ever appear full. But Galileo watched night after night, and what do you know? Venus went through a full set of phases. Crescent, half, full, just like our moon. That was it. Game over. Geometrically, that's only possible if Venus is orbiting the sun. And then, to really finish the job, along comes the astronomer Johannes Kepler. For thousands of years, everyone just knew that the heavens had to move in perfect circles. It was the divine, perfect shape. But Kepler, by patiently crunching decades of observational data, proved that planets actually move in ellipses. A little squashed, not so perfect after all. The beautiful clockwork heavens of Aristotle were gone for good. Okay, so let's just take a breath. The old universe is in ruins. The crystal spheres are shattered, Earth is just another planet, and the heavens aren't perfect. This isn't just an update for astronomy textbooks. This is a full-blown identity crisis for all of humanity, and it's what gives birth to the modern world. And I mean, really think about that. What do you do when the story you've been told your whole life, the story that says you are at the absolute center of creation and the focus of God's attention, turns out to be wrong? It forces you to find a new source of meaning, a new foundation for your worth. And this is the great pivot. The geocentric human's value came from the outside, from their fixed rung on that great cosmic ladder. But the heliocentric human, living on a small planet in a vast, mysterious universe, they had to find their worth internally, in the power of their own mind, their own ability to observe, to reason, and to figure things out for themselves.
And this is how a science lesson becomes a political revolution. The logic just snowballs, right? If the highest authorities were completely wrong about the very structure of the heavens, well, what else might they be wrong about? If reason and evidence beat ancient tradition in science, why not in government? And hey, if all the planets follow the same universal physical laws, maybe all people should follow universal moral laws. Maybe we all have universal rights. And that's really the heart of it. By knocking the Earth out of the center of the universe, the Copernican revolution inadvertently promoted the individual to the center of their own world. It created the intellectual space necessary for the radical ideals we now take for granted. Things like equality, individual liberty, and democracy to take root and grow.
It's a powerful thought, isn't it? That a change in a scientific model could so completely rewire how we see ourselves and our society. It really makes you wonder, what are the big ideas, the scientific breakthroughs happening right now that are quietly redrawing our own maps of meaning, and what new world will they end up creating?